A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a significant escalation of diplomatic tensions, U.S. trade advisor Peter Navarro has publicly criticized India for its ongoing imports of Russian crude oil, claiming that these purchases are effectively funding Moscow's military operations in Ukraine. In an opinion piece published in the Financial Times, Navarro accused New Delhi of acting as a global clearinghouse for Russian oil, converting embargoed crude into high-value exports and thereby providing Russia with essential revenue. This statement comes at a time when the U.S. is intensifying pressure on India to reduce its energy imports from Russia, particularly in light of the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. Navarro emphasized that India's reliance on Russian oil is not only opportunistic but also detrimental to global efforts aimed at isolating Russia economically. He stated, "If India wants to be treated as a strategic partner of the U.S., it needs to start acting like one." This remark underscores the expectations Washington has for its allies, especially in the context of geopolitical alignments. India has emerged as the second-largest buyer of Russian oil, following China, with over 30% of its crude oil being sourced from Moscow. This dependency has raised concerns among Western nations, particularly as they seek to impose sanctions and isolate Russia following its invasion of Ukraine. The United States has responded to India's continued trade with Russia by imposing a staggering 50% tariff on Indian goods, a move that has strained diplomatic relations between the two nations. In a robust defense of India's position, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, during a recent speech on India's Independence Day, vowed to protect the interests of Indian farmers against what he described as unfair trade practices. Modi's comments reflect a strong sense of nationalism and a commitment to safeguarding India's economic interests, even in the face of external pressure from the U.S. Despite the U.S. criticizing India for its ties with Russia, India maintains a complex relationship with both Russia and the United States. Historically, India has relied on Russia for defense supplies, including advanced military technology such as the S-400 missile defense system. However, in recent years, India has also been working to strengthen its strategic partnership with the United States, which has included increasing bilateral trade, now valued at approximately $128 billion annually. Yet, the recent actions by the Trump administration appear to have pushed India to reconsider its diplomatic stance, particularly in relation to China. Prime Minister Modi is set to meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping later this month, signaling a potential thaw in relations between the two neighboring countries. Additionally, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi is visiting India for discussions on border disputes, which further complicates the geopolitical landscape. Navarro's statements are not isolated. They echo sentiments shared by other senior officials within the Trump administration. Stephen Miller, Deputy Chief of Staff, previously stated that India's purchases of Russian oil were not acceptable and indicated that the U.S. would continue to push back against such actions. The U.S. is particularly concerned that India's continued engagement with Russia could jeopardize the transfer of advanced military technology and capabilities to India. In response to the mounting pressure, India's foreign ministry has argued that the country is being unfairly targeted for its oil purchases while other nations, including the U.S. and EU, continue to engage in trade with Russia. This claim is supported by data indicating that trade between the U.S. and Russia has significantly decreased since the onset of the conflict, yet still remains higher than India's trade levels. The EU, for instance, reported a total trade value with Russia of approximately €67.5 billion in 2024, a decrease from €257.5 billion in 2021. Moreover, the bloc continues to import Russian gas, which has been a significant source of revenue for the Kremlin. This situation raises questions about the consistency of U.S. policy towards allies and adversaries alike. As the U.S. and India grapple with these complex issues, negotiations for a free trade agreement have stalled, with a planned visit by U.S. trade negotiators to India recently canceled. This delay has raised concerns about the future of U.S.-India relations, especially as India seeks to balance its ties with both Russia and the United States. In conclusion, the ongoing tensions surrounding India's oil imports from Russia reflect broader geopolitical dynamics and the challenges of navigating international relations in a rapidly changing world. As India continues to assert its sovereignty and economic interests, the U.S. must carefully consider its approach to maintaining strategic partnerships in the face of emerging global challenges. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.